All right, so we're back with another video. So as you know, we're here on the global version, and one thing's very clear: we're getting constantly bombarded with banner after banner after banner. And today I figured I might as well do a showcase of one of the characters from the banners, of course, because naturally I did summon for the characters, so I just figured I might as well. So the character that we're actually going to be talking about today is going to be Momo Nishimiya. It's very unfortunate that not many people are going to actually be able to get this character, just simply due to the timing and the speed of how quickly we are receiving these banners. It's just, honestly, for the player base itself, it's not really such a good look, because obviously a lot of the community is just like, wow, really, are you kidding me? You're gonna really drop all these banners and just not, have an equal ratio of how many cubes we're gonna be receiving and all that? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But anyways, let's not get off topic with the issues of global. Let's actually just talk about the character itself, because obviously that's what we're here for. So as you can see, Momo Nishimiya is a mono blue character, and it does state interfere. Now, of course, Momo does have some disruption in her kit. That is not going to mainly be the reason that you're going to be using her. The main reason is actually going to be for her buffing capabilities. Her buffing capabilities are very powerful for the entire team. Definitely one of the best SSR buffers on global to date. Of course, as soon as SSR Yaga drops, she will be overthrown easily, because Yaga is literally built different. But yeah, until then, for now, Momo is the best SSR buffer on global. Anyways, let's get right into it and actually start off with her first skill. So we have the first skill, which is going to be Windblade. So this is going to be your normal attack that takes like no cursed energy whatsoever to do damage. It's going to deal ranged attack damage to the target enemy equal to 139% of cursed damage, and applies 20% damage taken increase to them for a total of 3 times in 2 turns. So overall, this is not bad whatsoever. You'd use this 2 times and you're cooking, you know what I'm saying? It is very good. Keep in mind, when I'm talking about these skills, I'm only talking about them at the level that I currently have them at. Of course, they can be even higher, with them at level 10. But I figured just at like the standalone, where most people will probably get their skills at without, using too much of their rainbow crystals or their chaotic crystals, would be around this range. So I figured I might as well just talk about it right here. So this is going to be the modifier when you get them to level 8. Then you have your skill 2. So your skill 2 is definitely going to be one of your most used skills. This is Tailwind. So what it does is it only costs 20 curse energy. So roughly about the same as Nanami's buffing skill. And it does 68% damage dealt increase to all allies for 2 turns. And 20% break damage to all allies for 2 turns. And it is stackable. So with just these 2 buffs alone, using this 2 times, this will naturally get you roughly about the same amount of damage dealt increase. In fact, a little bit more than Nanami, which on top of that, you also get break damage. So overall, this skill 2 is way better than Nanami's, just because you only need 2 turns to set it up. So you're not going to be heavily as reliant on cursed energy as you would for Nanami, because Nanami, you would have to ramp him up and build them up with his buffs for 4 turns rather than just 2 turns of Momo. So this definitely makes Momo a very powerful buffer indeed, not only providing extra damage dealt but also break damage. Next up, we have the third skill, which is going to be Reconnaissance. And Reconnaissance basically gives 41% crit rate increase to all allies for 2 turns, and 27% crit damage dealt increase to all allies for 2 turns, and then applies a 30% crit resist decrease to all enemies. Now, overall, it is a pretty good skill. I don't find myself using it that much, just because critting is, of course, RNG based, and if you're not critting, then you're also not getting that crit damage dealt either. And even if you're increasing your crit rate with this, I mean, there's still times where you might not crit. And then, of course, giving crit resist is also very nice. I think in the most times that you would ever be using this over the other skill, because keep in mind, obviously, you're going to have to continuously keep spamming this skill. The moment you start using this skill, you're going to lose out on that damage dealt buff, which, like I said, this is going to be more consistent than, obviously, this. This just relies on the crit. Meanwhile, this just buffs all your damage overall, even when you crit as well. So I just feel like your skill 2 is definitely going to have higher priority than your skill 3. But in cases where you have a character on your team who benefits tremendously, like let's say a Yuji using like-minded sisters, where they benefit tremendously, you definitely can use Reconnaissance as a way to kind of build up your ult charge for that specific character if you're using like-minded sisters. It all obviously depends on the character, but you know what I'm saying? Obviously, this is going to be really good in those situations where you're just trying to build up before you actually get to your setup with your nukes using Tailwind. Next up, we have the ult. Ult is Cute Lesson. Now, Realistically, you're not really using this just for the damage output, but for its disruption ability. So essentially what it does is deals range curse damage to all enemies equal to 672%, and then it decreases the enemy's ult count by 1, and then has a 77% chance to apply stun to them for 1 turn. Overall, that's an amazing disruption skill, being able to stun the enemy and also set them back, gaining their ults, and it's AoE on top of that, so it's very, very good. Now, in terms of skill priority, I definitely have to say that upgrading skill 2, if you can, to max is going to be the best, just because, like I said, even when you're not critting, even when you are critting, this is definitely going to buff your damage output overall. And then, of course, reconnaissance is very good, but I wouldn't even consider this as the second skill level up. I'd probably even still do the ult, just because, like I said, in most cases, you're going to be leveling using your tailwind. Very rare scenarios you'll be using reconnaissance. I mean, either way, it's interchangeable. But then on top of that, you also have Windblade, which is also very nice, being able to apply damage taken increase. So if you're using this character mainly for setups on doing as much damage as possible, you're definitely going to want to be upgrading your skill 1 and your skill 2, just because you'll be increasing the damage taken. Overall, in my opinion, I feel like there's nothing in her entire kit that isn't that bad to actually upgrade. They're all pretty good to upgrade. But I feel like you're just not going to use skill 3 as often as you would with skill 2. So that's just my big reasoning there. And then the ult is not important on her because that's not what you're using her for. But of course, extra damage is appreciated. But anyways, like I said, main priority is skill 2. And then you could kind of decide what you want for your other skills. Now, let's actually get into the actual teams that we're going to be using with her. She's very straightforward. We don't really have to think too much about a team formation with her because she's just a buffer. So she practically fits on any team that needs someone to buff. Like if you have Nanami, she can definitely replace Nanami easily. So we're not going to make any crazy highly advanced teams. We're just going to make the standard normal team that you would use in practically most content, right? All right, so here's our team formation. So essentially we have Yaga, of course, our buffer. We have Nanami, who's our other buffer, and then we have Momo, who is our third buffer. Now, of course, keep in mind, even though Momo essentially, in my opinion, is, I mean, it's probably not even an opinion, it's definitely a fact. Even though Momo is a better version of Nanami in terms of buffing, you still can use them together on the same team because you're just going to be stacking these buffs. Of course, when you're in situations where you don't have that much free spots available, of course, you would prefer to use Momo over Nanami. But in this situation, we're going to be going for as much damage output as possible on one of the stages. So we're going to be using this setup where we have 3 buffers. We're going to have ult charts for our team. Not that it matters too much because the only ult that we care about is Yuta's, but obviously that's literally the reason why we're going to use it. And then of course Nanami, so that way we can use perfect synchronization at the same time. Then we have Momo for buffing, and then Wasp to increase our damage dealt. And yeah, obviously we're going to have non-standard on Yuta, and then we're going to cook, right? And then we don't care about the 5th slot. The 5th slot is just there because I didn't feel like changing it. Now here we are on the formidable foe. Now of course I could be doing tower to kind of showcase this, but I feel like there's a lot of RNG factors that play into actually trying to get everything to line up. So we're just going to be doing the panda fight because obviously it's the simplest way to actually get everything that you need set up. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're just going to be doing this one rather than tower. All right, looks like we got all the stars lining up to us. Literally every single one. And then we'll just nuke on the next turn. Just because I wasn't sure if I had done it enough times. It would just be better safe than sorry, right? And then here we go. Nuking time, baby. This will let us use 2 ults in the same turn, right? So we'll do this and we won't lose that much damage because of perfect synchronization. God dang! Nah, Nanami cooked, by the way. Oh yeah, big damage, by the way. Yeah, they got absolutely slaughtered. Holy, but as you can see, like the damage output that you definitely could put up some crazy numbers. Like even Nanami was looking hella nice there. But yeah, like Momo's an amazing support character, just buffs your entire team. It's super easy and simple to set up. You only need 2 turns to do it, so which means you only need 40 cursed energy to do what you gotta do, and of course a memory to go with her, and you're chilling. Big buffs, big damage output, easy. Less of a hassle than Nanami, because obviously, as you can see, Nanami compared to her, Nanami definitely has to build up for some turns. Meanwhile, Momo can do it in less amount of turns and for less cursed energy as well, which gives you more variables and more options, and that flexibility when you're doing much harder content to, you know, use your cursed energy in time for, you know, the specific moment that you're going to do as much damage as possible. So that way you will have enough cursed energy. It's an easier and smoother ride. But yeah, anyways, that's going to be the Momo showcase. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace. So here we just have a little bit of an extra tidbit here where I'm going to be nuking, of course, the 20th floor with my 3 buffers, of course. So we already have all the buffs out, laid out by our 3 buffers, Momo, Nanami, and Yaga. And yeah, this stage should absolutely be getting destroyed right here. And that's it.